There are countries that have chosen an animal as their unofficial symbol. For example, in Russia it is the bear, depicted on the coats of arms of many cities and a hero of countless folk tales. For the English, it is the lion. For the French, the rooster. These animals can even be found on official logos such as those of football federations. Azerbaijan, on the other hand, doesn't have a distinct animal symbol. But if it had to choose, which one would fit this role best? Assalamu alaikum, this is Finn. Today we've got a lively topic. We'll talk about the dark horse in the contest for the right to become the potential totem of the Azerbaijanis. The criteria are simple. The animal's place in mythology, oral folklore, literature, everyday life and economy, and most importantly, in the fate of Azerbaijanis during hard times. The assessment will be subjective, but certainly interesting. Getty. The animal world has always inspired people. Some symbolize strength and power, like the tiger or the bear. Others embody grace and tenderness, like the swan or the gazelle. By the way, the gazelle was one of the two official mascots of the first European Games in Baku in 2015, and rightly so. Gazelles live in Azerbaijan. They are graceful and impressive, but a mascot is only the symbol of an event. For a totem, this is not enough. A totem must have deep roots in the culture and history of a people. Another candidate is the horse, naturally the Karabakh horse, which deserves a separate video. It has been presented as a gift to foreign leaders. It also has its place in oral folklore and popular culture. However, the horse is primarily associated with Karabakh itself. Moreover, horse breeding has never been a leading branch of animal husbandry in Azerbaijan, unlike in Kazakhstan, for example. Therefore, the horse is more a regional than a national symbol. A much stronger candidate is the ram. First of all, it is a symbol of prosperity and well-being. In dowries and in bride price, the ram played an important role. Plus, meat, wool, cheese. Take Motal cheese, for example. In Azerbaijani history, the ram was even the symbol of entire dynasties. Karakoyunlu, black sheep, and Akkoyunlu, white sheep. The head of the latter, Uzun Hasan, was the grandfather of the founder of the Azerbaijani Safavid dynasty, which ruled Persia for nearly 250 years. But there is a problem. The ram lacks grace, and in folklore, he is more often led than leading. Even in children's fairy tales, the ram frequently ends up a victim of circumstances. And here comes the main candidate, the goat. In relatively modern fairy tales, it is credited with cleverness and cunning, but in epic works, it appears almost as a savior. By the way, among the ancient Greeks, the goat Amalthea nursed the newborn Zeus. In Azerbaijani mythology, the goat is the embodiment of abundance, prosperity, and spring. In the epic Koroglu, a goat feeds with its milk the child, who symbolizes the revival of the soil at the turning point between winter and spring. In folk rituals, this image is preserved in the game Kösa, where Kösa represents the departing winter and the goat that defeats him, spring. During Novruz, Kösa already appears as a positive character, symbolizing the arrival of spring and driving away Keçal, or the bolt, who personifies winter, the dark force. An interesting detail is that to get rid of Keçal, Kösa is dressed in a fur coat made of goat's wool. The goat is a useful and respected animal. It ranks above other barnyard animals, though still below the dog. But that doesn't stop people from sometimes walking them like dogs. Listen to this.
Açıldı seher, bu ne gün, bu ne güzaran. Birin yanında kalırım, eşidirem azan. Çıkıp çöle görürüm, küçemizden avtobus geçir. Kimse itle gezir, iti olmayan gezdirir keçi.
This is not fiction. Goats really were walked even before the 1917 October Revolution here. There is a well-known story about Gochu Najavgulu Ashurbekov, an influential man of his time. His brazen goat once lay down on the tram rails in the center of Baku and caused a huge traffic jam. Nobody dared disturb the goat of an authority figure, fearing consequences. In the end, only a city policeman dared to drive away the horned insolent with a kick. From a practical perspective, the goat is indispensable. The fodder needed for one cow could feed 4 goats. At only 50 kilograms, a goat can produce up to 5 liters of milk per day, while a 500 kilogram cow gives about 20 liters. Goat's milk is easier to digest and often replaced mother's milk. No wonder goats were called the cow of the poor, the proletarian cow. During wartime, they saved families when keeping a cow was beyond reach. In 1945, there were more than 733,000 goats in Azerbaijan, a record number. The same was true beyond the USSR. Macedonian writer Luan Starova, in his book The Time of Goats, notes, if not for the goats, people in the Balkans would have starved to death. In the 1990s, during the crisis and war in Azerbaijan, the goat once again became a lifeline for impoverished families. Today, goat numbers here are once again approaching those of World War II times. The goat has survived empires, Roman, Byzantine, Ottoman. It survived the Stalinist era, and it will keep surviving because it helped people endure the hardest times and remains closely bound to human life. And that is why it so deservedly fits the role of a potential totem of the Azerbaijani. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe, like, hit the bell, leave a comment and share with your friends. By the way, this video is also available in Russian. And remember, there is no good or bad culture. There is simply another culture. Salamat kalın.